Who wants facts? You want facts? I've got facts. Now the word makes no sense. I've said it too many times. On this video, I'm going to drop some of the biggest facts on autism you absolutely need to know. So let's go. Hey, welcome back, or thank you so much for watching for the first time. I'm Orion Kelly, that autistic guy. And since my adult diagnosis, I've devoted my time to advocating for the autistic community. I do that through my blogs, podcasts, and these YouTube videos. And my goal is to raise the level of understanding, appreciation, and acceptance of the autistic community. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would love it if you'd continue to help me on my journey to raising that level of understanding by simply subscribing to my YouTube channel. Watch the videos, rate them, like them, comment. Simply clicking that subscribe button and ringing the notifications bell not only means you'll never miss out on any of my videos, but you also help me reach more people. You're also welcome to connect with me on my socials. You can find the Orion Kelly page on Facebook and flick me a follow. Find me on Instagram, my tweets on Twitter, and my shorts on TikTok. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Check me out on the socials. I've also got a website, orionkelly.com.au. On my website, there is everything you need. All the blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, details on me, and you can email me. Say hey. Check it out, orionkelly.com.au. Alrighty then, let's drop some facts on let's just do some autism facts. A reality for the autistic community is that autism is pretty much burdened by all manner of myths and misconceptions around really anything to do with autism. And some of those myths can be really harmful to an autistic person. But rather than going through the myths, I thought it might be better to simply state some facts. So stand by, my friends. These are some of the most important facts on autism you absolutely need to know. Fact number one, autism cannot be cured. It's a neurological, developmental difference, a medically diagnosed disability, a different brain. Our brain's wired differently. Simple as that. Nothing else makes us autistic. You can't cure autism. And perpetuating this myth that autism can be cured, really it just tells me there's groups of neurotypical people that want to perpetuate the idea that autism can be cured because they think it should. They want to cure it or eradicate it. That doesn't help anyone. That's really harmful. No matter what their intentions are, it actually can't be achieved. How would you expect an autistic person to react to such an idea that what you are is bad and you need to be fixed? Autism fact number two, autism is genetic. So clearly autistic people have a different brain. And the brain is a relatively tough thing to study and understand. So it's an ever-changing landscape. The level of our understanding around the differences between an autistic brain and a neurotypical brain continues. As we move through that level of understanding, we've now established there is a clear link between genetics and autism. And I think one of the most obvious examples of this genetic link is it seems relatively apparent. Take me, for example, in an adult being diagnosed as autistic around about the same time or as a result of one of their children being diagnosed as autistic. You have a me too or aha moment. You go through the process of a child being assessed to be diagnosed, and then you realize, this seems pretty familiar to me. And then you realize, oh, maybe I am too. You get assessed and you get diagnosed. Okay, well, you weren't diagnosed just because your son or daughter were. You were always autistic. You went on to have a child. That child had a genetic link and was also born autistic. This might not be something everyone wants to hear, but if you are a parent of an autistic child or a grandparent of an autistic child, chances are one of you, whether that's you or your partner or one of the grandparents or some of the grandparents or all the grandparents or all the parents, also are autistic. So to be clear, it's factual. You cannot catch or acquire autism through your life. Autism isn't caused by a bad childhood or some weird life experiences. You are born autistic and you die autistic. Autism fact number 3, most of the autistic community prefer identity-first language rather than person-first language. At its most basic, what that means is our preference is to be referred to as autistic, as an autistic person, rather than a person who has autism or a person with autism. Not that those things are wrong if that's your personal choice. I'm just saying the majority of the autistic community in this day and age now have a preference for identity first. I'm Orion and I'm autistic. Autism fact number 4, we reject functioning labels. The autistic community, that is people that are autistic, outright reject the use of functioning labels. I'm talking about labels like high functioning or low functioning. We reject the use of these types of labels. Frankly, I think they're dangerous, but I also think they're harmful and inappropriate. Let's say that you watch my video and you say, oh, he's got to be high functioning. He's a high functioning autistic person. What you'd probably say actually is he has high functioning autism, which I've already told you we reject. I'm an autistic person. Now, I may be high functioning to you right now, but that's an observation you're making. That has no relevance to my day-to-day life. You have absolutely no idea the challenges I face on a daily basis. So the reason why I'm saying that is, in that language, let's say you said this person has low functioning autism, and therefore that means they have very little to achieve, to contribute. That's utterly and completely wrong. So pigeonholing an autistic person with a low functioning label just outright denies their contribution. It denies their strengths. Sure, they have challenges, but they have strengths. And conversely, labeling an autistic person high functioning utterly disregards any of their challenges. Either way, it doesn't help. And that's why this idea that there is some sort of linear spectrum, so the autism spectrum is a line, is fanciful. It's wrong. A line where there's the high and the low and in between. It just doesn't work like that. 1 minute of the day, I could be really struggling to function. And another minute of the day, I could be doing amazing things. Every autistic person is just like that. Functioning labels minimize the experiences of some autistic people while minimizing the potential and capacities of other autistic people, which is unhelpful to everyone. Autism fact number 5, ABA, or applied behavioral analysis, is dangerous to autistic people. So ABA is a so-called therapy designed to change the behavior of an autistic person. In my view, ABA seeks to really suppress the true and unique behaviors of an autistic person. Now, as a rule, this is mostly done with autistic kids. So basically, ABA is designed to teach autistic kids to suppress their true, genuine autistic selves and therefore render them indistinguishable from their neurotypical peers. Dangerous. It's just dangerous. Factual. ABA. Dangerous. Fact. Of course, there are some forms of therapies that are absolutely practical, that are valuable to autistic kids or autistic people for that matter. Things that have a practical sense in improving the quality of lives of autistic people. So I'm not talking about all therapies. I'm talking about a behavioral therapy that really just seeks to teach people how to suppress being their true selves. Autism fact number 6, lived experiences trump all. The lived experiences of an autistic person trump all other thoughts and opinions on autism. Of course, that doesn't mean that others, be that neurotypical, non-autistic people, can't contribute to increasing the level of understanding of autism and autistic people, because obviously they can. Their contribution can in fact improve the quality of lives of autistic people. That isn't the argument. The inclusion of autistic opinions and the lived experiences of autistic people is absolutely critical in any discussion on autism. And this hasn't always been a given. That's why this is such an important fact. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you study, or you go to uni and you go home and turn off the autism switch and you can be normal again. This is not a thing that autistic people can do. So we must really prioritize the importance of autistic opinions and autistic lived experiences. And again, not trying to offend people, it's just a fact that you do not know what autism is like. You do not know what living with autism or what autism feels like because you live or care for an autistic person. If you're not autistic, you don't know what living as an autistic person or autism in general is like. You don't. What you do know is what it's like to live with or care for a person who's autistic. But that is a very different experience. Autism fact number 7, autism is not an intellectual disability. Autism is a neurological developmental disability. There's a difference between being autistic and having an intellectual disability. It isn't one and the same. Just like all people, autistic people are made up of some that have above average IQs, some that have average IQs, and some that have below average IQs. Some that may also have intellectual disabilities. But that, in its most common form, is a comorbidity, in addition to a diagnosis of being autistic. It really isn't that complicated. Just like everyone else on the planet, every autistic person is different. Some are non-speaking. Some have intellectual disabilities. Some have other comorbidities. Some have above average intelligence. I don't really care what it is. Everyone is as valuable as the next person. We're all just different. Autism fact number 8. All autistic people communicate. All autistic people, including autistic people that are non-speaking, have a voice, communicate, and need to be heard. So the fact that an autistic person may use other forms of communication, like devices rather than using their own voice, doesn't mean what they have to say is any less important. Doesn't mean that they should be listened to or their voice should be respected less. Autistic people that communicate in different ways have just as much to offer as any other autistic person, and they should be afforded the same rights and opportunities as all other autistic people. Autism fact number 9, we, the autistic community, outright reject the use of the puzzle piece symbol to identify autism. Now, I don't want to offend people. This isn't about offending people. This is about simply sharing facts. So it doesn't actually matter if your intentions are good or bad. It doesn't actually matter if you use the puzzle piece symbol just out of lack of knowledge or ignorance. There is no defense of ignorance in the law. It shouldn't be any different in the real world where the law exists. Bottom line, everyone has different opinions on what the puzzle piece symbol can mean. And I understand that there are a lot of people that use the puzzle piece symbol with good intentions as a way of identifying autism or their autistic child, and they do it in a proud way. But we have to look at it from the point of view of the autistic community. And overall, when we look at a puzzle piece, we look at something that needs to be put back together, that needs to be solved, that is somehow broken or misplaced. Does that make sense? We're not a puzzle. Autistic people are autistic people. Sure, we're different. That's because we have a different brain. But we don't need to be solved or put back together. And for those that are wondering, well, what are we supposed to use then? The majority of the autistic community prefer the use of the infinity loop symbol to represent autism or autistic people. And we do that because the infinity loop symbol represents, I guess, the infinite differences of all autistic people. It celebrates our differences. And now, my friends, autism fact number 10, autism speaks is bad. For those that are unaware of autism speaks, just ask Sia. Basically, autism speaks is an organization related to autism, if that's what you want to believe. It's an organization. In my opinion, it's nothing more than a harmful, dangerous organization for the autistic community. In my opinion, Autism Speaks is not an ally of the autistic community. I encourage you to look into this for yourself, make up your own mind. Don't take my thoughts or opinions as gospel. But from my point of view, Autism Speaks needs to stop doing just that. Maybe they could call themselves Shut up. Hopefully my autistic facts have increased even just a little bit your level of understanding, appreciation, and acceptance of autistic people. I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Share the videos with your family, friends, frenemies. And until my next video, thank you so much for your support, and we'll talk soon.